Well, after returning from the winter break with both European disappointment and the loss of our star striker last episode, this is an absolutely massive one. Thomas Frank is back in Denmark. He is managing AGF. No idea how that's happened in 5 years. And today we face his side with our reserve team before going to the second leg of our Europa Conference tie with a 2-goal deficit to overturn in Portugal. Looks unlikely, but let's see if we can produce a miracle. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 36 of Rebuilding Viborg with me, Daniel. We are basically out of Europe, but we are going to try and produce a miracle today. We head to Portugal to face Estrela with a 2-goal deficit from the first leg. But before that, we've got to rotate heavily to rest people. And we're going to be playing Thomas Frank's AGF. Maybe one of the stories of the save. We'll look at his career in a moment. If you're looking forward to that, seeing if we can just about stay in the title race, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily content from 2 stories. The Brighton save is up in the eye above with 5 episodes into that one now. There's also links to other key playlists, the Twitch channel, and our FM23 save ideas. The latest one, for those of you that like a relegation scrap, is up in the eye above. Links to everything else and ways to support the channel down in the description. But thank you for coming along as always, as we reflect on a very difficult spell for Viborg. We come back from the winter break, we lose 2-0 to Estrela last time, we've lost Sampaio, we've got a big turnaround in playing staff. Well, today a lot of them are going to start for the first time. So let's go and get straight into the first game against AGF. We've had no games off camera. But the thing we've got to look at with today's opponents is the manager. Thomas Frank, why is he managing them? He was at Brentford till 2022, then he was at Bolton and Huddersfield, both brief spells, and now he's at AGF. But look at him. Look at his attributes. They're absolutely sensational. Must be the best coach in the country now. And if he can survive to the end of the year and keep them up, I'd expect them to be contenders next year. How long has he been there? I want to know when he joined the club. He came on the 14th of October, so have they had any turnaround in results since he joined? They had a few before the winter break, and in fairness, they had a 5-1 win against Bromby, drew with Copenhagen and Odense, and beat Lyngby, so they're doing a lot better than they were under their predecessor. Did he bring anyone in January with his name? One player came in for a fee, who's pretty good, would probably get in our squad as a backup, and then a couple of other free agents as well. More younger players for the future. Oh no, and Pindi, he's a centre midfielder we've tried to sign before. Really good, solid pro. So they are doing all right. They've sold a big player to Copenhagen for nearly 2 million quid. So it looks like AGF are setting up for the summer. We played them back in the first season with Jack Wilshere and the boys. Well, today it's Thomas Frank and the boys. Let's go and see the squad we can pick. It's fully rotated ahead of Thursday's game. We only played Estrela 2.5 days ago. So this one is going to be a pretty difficult test. You can see Copenhagen have won the earlier kickoff at Midtjylland. They're now 5 points clear of us and joint top. If Nordsjælland win their game in hand, they can go 3 further clear. But they've got a tough trip to Esbjerg, who if they win, can put pressure on us in third. So let's have a look at the tactical meeting and the team we can put out. I'm afraid I've had to rotate heavily, and I won't make any apologies for it. This is the side we've gone for. First starts for Hackford, a debut for Taylor and for Anderson at centre-half. And around it, we've largely gone for a backup team. David Palmer is back to fitness but will be on the bench. He can be the difference in a second leg. I'm basically pinning my hopes on him being fit and raring to go in Portugal. It means our 11 for today is the only first team at Lerche between the sticks. Burr and Schroeder at the backup fullbacks with Anderson and Carlson centre-half. Taylor, Williamson and Jacobson the midfield 3. Navicki, Rothman and Hackford the front 3. On the bench, the likes of Winthrop, Moller and Palmer are there if needed. But otherwise, I'd like to rest everyone. No one off the bench by Carter is fully conditioned anyway. So let's just see how we get on. And hopefully, by any means, we can just nick a result. And here's the AGF side. Of course, their first game back from the winter break because they didn't have European football. They've got a decent side and Pindi is in. He will make his debut today. Who was the other one they signed as well? I can't remember who he was, but he's probably in there. Let's go and get through to the dressing room. We're going to expect a much better performance today. You're not wrong about that. Let's point the finger. Let's get some motivated. and let's just get the result. I don't need this to be pretty. I'm a bit worried about our goal threat without the likes of Sampaio, but let's just see how we do. Nearly a full house again, big credit to the Viborg fans. Now let's give them something they can be proud of. A win, most importantly. As we're 5 minutes on the clock, we're defending a corner and Pindi nearly scores on debut. The man taking the corner is an Icelandic midfielder I chased for about 2 years here. It was from when we got promoted. He was available on a free or a pre-agreed deal. We just couldn't get it done. And now he's playing for AGF. That's the Thomas Frank lure. As we're 20 minutes gone, this has been a pretty poor display. We have struggled around the European matches quite a bit this year. We've had a mixed bag of performances after Thursday nights. As Navicki holds the ball up again, our backup team's just not strong enough to win the league. But it should really be getting a result against 11th place AGF. As Lerche plays out to Anderson on debut, looking for him to produce from a set piece ideally, as he picks it up at centre half again to Carlson. The experienced pro finds his partner again, up into midfield for Jakobsen. Left back's making a run, but it's all very safe and very simple at the minute. Just waiting for someone to play that aggressive, attacking pass, try and push us forward. Here's Williamson, maybe it'll be him. Comes forward, he just carries the ball. The ball out's poor, but Rothman will keep it in. Back across to Jakobsen, who scores. Jurchin Rothman saves a poor pass forward. And with it, he sets up a goal too. Thomas Jakobsen makes it 1-0. Brilliant to see the youngster amongst the goals. And we're back with a goal kick for AGF, which is hammered long downfield. Anderson towering over everyone to win the header at centre half. And Burr puts it into Williamson and Hackford through to Navicki, who may or may not have been onside. I don't think he was. The referee's hand went straight up. The assistant's flag was already up. But what will VAR say? I'm calling that as off. We just have to hope one of the fullbacks played him on. No, goal disallowed. It stays 1-0. And with 2 minutes to the break, we're looking to add that second goal as Rothman's in from a quick free kick. Really clever little move, but doesn't lead to anything. And at the break, it will stay 1-0. Not entirely comfortable, not entirely confident, but we've got the lead. And with the squad out, we've got to be pretty pleased with that. So we're going to ask the lads to prove a point. We've got a lot of them motivated again. And when we get to sort of 65, 70 minutes, we'll probably start resting people, particularly those who might be on the bench and called upon during Thursday night. As Taylor plays through to Williamson, in one-on-one, just wide of the post. The angle was closed by the fullback there. He couldn't quite get around his shot and bend it. And as a result, it didn't really test the keeper. He didn't look particularly worried. And it's not been a vintage display, but as we said at the start, it's about getting the victory here. And with 25 minutes left on the clock, we're on course to do that at the moment. Navicki played on Thursday night, so I'm going to give him a little rest now. Looking at who we can take off. I think we give Palmer a run out. I think it's important he gets a little match fitness. Looking in midfield, Terry Taylor's had an okay debut. Williamson might be on the bench Thursday, maybe someone to rest. I'm going to do that. Winther on for Williamson. Jakobsen will go centre mid on attack. Taylor will go in his preferred box-to-box role. Winther back into the holding midfield position. And then Merla will come on at centre half for Carlson. Or maybe even Oscar Burr. Because both of those are going to be on the bench in midweek. Given the fitness issues we've had with Anyembi, I'm going to rest Oscar Burr. 25 minutes to go. 3 changes made. We'll make the other 2 in a minute if we need to. As with a quarter of the game to go, the subs are on and Winther has got the ball in holding midfield. Plays a 1-2 with Carlson and it's back to Anderson. No worries with him, of course, because he can't play on Thursday night. As Jakobsen gets it in midfield to Palmer. What difference can he make down the right? Just don't get injured, please. Back to Merla. Has 2 options inside of him. Carlson's one. We've been very patient on the ball today. And that's either very composed or maybe lacking inspiration. Though Taylor flicks the switch. Out to Palmer on the right. He ignites the attack to Jakobsen. The goal scorer back to Palmer. Crosses block to Jakobsen. On a brace. Hits the woodwork. And it's just over the bar. Quarter of the game to go. We're 1-0 up. But we are the dominant side. We certainly deserve it. Though it's a free kick at the other end. It only takes one moment. And Pindi heads just wide again. And for all our dominance, that new signing has had 2 glorious chances for AGF. And you'd argue they might well have got back into this game. Let's look at other subs we can make. There's not really that many options, are there? I could potentially push Winther into midfield. I could rest Rothman. And I would like to do that ahead of midweek. But I'm not going to yet. We're going to leave the subs for now because everyone on the bench is going to start in midweek and I need to keep them well rested. as Lerche's got the ball at the back. It's a poor clearance and it's put us under pressure. Carlson does really well to mop it up. Winther finds Taylor. Through ball towards Hackford. He's got the pace, but he's not got the muscle. And it's worked out to Palmer from the slide tackle. Into the back post to Jurchin-Rothman. And his header's over the bar. It's still 1-0. It's still a little bit tense. But we are the dominant side. Let's make a couple more changes. We'll just see out the last few minutes. Park will come on the left. Not a natural position for him, but he'll do it okay for a few minutes. And then at the back, I think Tobias Carlson will be the man to come off. Messick on for him. We'll switch over Anderson. And we'll just try and see out the last 7 minutes. As we're back with a throw for Jan Schroeder at left back. Finds Ivan Messick and back to him again. 5 minutes left on the clock and we're back in possession. That's where we want to be. I'd love a second goal to wrap this up though. And we have got the players to do it on the pitch now. Not been too impressed by Hackford so far, as Merla can't get down the right there. He's a little bit slow, a little bit cumbersome, and he's managed to be cleared downfield. Only as far as Ivan Messick. We just need to hope the first teamers don't get injured either. We need them all fit on Thursday if we're going to produce the miracle. Back to Lerche in goal. Big chip down the left. Not won by Park though, and Grombach gets it down the line. This would be a disaster. Shiembi down the right to Bruce. Chance to cross. He's at the byline. It's back to Friendup. And thankfully it's wide of the post. It was an ugly shot, but it was an easy move. And it is a big, big concern for us this. Into 3 minutes of stoppage time, we're going to hold on. 1-0 Viborg. It wasn't pretty. It was everything we expected. An ugly display, a gritty win. And now we go to the big game on Thursday. Can we save our European campaign, or will we fall to expected defeat at Estrela? Here it is then. Is it our final Thursday night football in the European competitions this year? It's going to be one hell of a job. 2-0 down after the home leg against Estrela of Portugal. And we've got to try and overturn it. The positives. There's no fitness test, which means David Palmer should be fit this time. And we should be able to go back to full strength. So let's make the changes the assistant recommends. We'll adjust it ourselves as needed. We'll be back in a moment to run through the team that's got to try and achieve the unthinkable. Right then, I have made one big, ballsy, stupid, whatever you want to call it, decision ahead of this game. We'll see if it works out. You can probably judge it at the end of the match. We have gone for Jurchin-Rothman up front. Often the super sub in Europe, but Hackford hasn't started well. Nowicki's not a goal scorer, and Park's just been awful and is declining in training. I've got to go for Rothman. He's the only one of these who I know can score goals, and that has to stand for something. So what we've got is a team that is basically what we played prior to January, with Jurchin-Rothman instead of Sampaio. A slight downgrade, but a proven goal scorer, and he can take a penalty if we get that far. So we've got Lerche in goal. I think the only man alongside Rothman who keeps his place tonight. And Yembi and Rio the fullbacks, with Messick and Carter as centre half. Witt, Harbo and Cannell the midfield three, with the returning David Palmer, Tobias Beck and Jurchin-Rothman up front. Will it prove to be an inspired decision, or is it going to make no difference? Let's go and find out. So it is just the 9 changes from the league game, 4 made by our opponents as well. Figueiredo's in there again, Canute. I'm just looking at the players who scored last game. I don't see the centre forward who scored the goals, and he's not in the squad, so with only 5 subs, they must have some injuries or suspensions. But otherwise, Cody Drame's in there, Brahimi was trouble in the first leg. This is going to be tough. Let's go and get through the dressing room. We're going to tell the lads to prove a point, do what they can. I just want to see who they're missing and why. That's the man. Zhu scored the goal, didn't he? He's out injured. They're missing 3 or 4, in fact. A couple of fringe players, a couple of squad players. But when you look at the wages, Brahimi and Cordova together are earning virtually as much as our whole squad. That tells you how much of an underdog we are. Into the first half via the tunnel interview. Can Jurchin-Rothman roll back the years and maybe play like he did in a second tier? If he does that, we've got a chance. Well, as always, we're keeping an eye on the other Danish sides, and Brøndby are absolutely flying the flag for us. Midtjylland not so much. They're suffering the same fate at home to Hammarby as we did in Champions League qualifying. How different our story could have been without that defeat. But Brøndby are flying against Slavia Prague. And it looks like they're going to join Copenhagen in the last 16. As we've got a corner with Luca Cannell into Hayden Carter. And in a nothing game, he's put it in off the underside of the bar. With just over 10 minutes to half time. We have half the deficit in this tie. And we're back in it. Now we can start to believe. They've not offered much, Estrela. Are they being cautious? Not much of a crowd, not much of an atmosphere. And at half-time, we are back in this tie. David Palmer hasn't really got going yet. Has he got much to give in the second half? Because he's the one I'm resting my hopes on. And if he doesn't produce soon, I think he'll run out of steam. Brøndby now 4-1 up on the night against Slavia Prague. They're definitely going through. Midtjylland struggling. And we're not really creating enough to get me excited. We've got to produce a goal in the next 25 minutes. And I'm looking at this team. Palmer's playing poorly. Beckham, Rothman are knackered. What do I do with 15 to go? Do I throw people on? I'm going to leave Palmer on, regardless of his performance. Hackford will come on up front for Jurchen Rothman. I leave the 2 stars on. Can Navicki be a hero? Can either of them play off the left? I'm not sure they can. So I might be forced to stay as I am. Palmer can play off the left. It would be a ballsy move though. And if ever there's a time for ballsy, it might be now. I don't know what to do. I'm going to cancel him. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go attacking. We're going to encourage the lads. I'll give them 6 or 7 minutes and then I'll throw a few subs on at the end. Because this is our best team and they have to be given every chance. In the second half though, we've created next to nothing. I've got to do it now. 7.5 minutes left. Palmer's gone. He's absolutely gone. Navicki on for him. Hackford on for Rothman. And then what else in midfield? We've got the likes of Schroeder who could come on for real. Or we've got Vitt struggling who could be replaced by Terry Taylor. Let's get Taylor on. He's going to replace Benjamin Vitt. And with 7 minutes left, it's been a terrible game. We've created next to nothing. We've had no opportunity. Just want one chance. We've got 2 minutes of stoppage time. And it's Estrela with a throw. We've nicked the ball with Canel to Navicki. This is the moment. Lord knows what happens if we equalise because we've got no penalty takers, no great subs as Beck gets down the left. 3 or 4 in the box. We're flying men forward. Beck goes back to Real. Big delivery to Navicki. Oh, the flag goes up. VAR will check it, but it's not given. And in fact, it's not in the Europa Conference here, is it? Oh, what a moment that would have been for Kasper Navicki. And the chance goes begging right at the end. The 30 seconds left. Lerche's got the ball in goal. Just hammer it downfield, son. Hammer it as far as you can. Navicki and Hackford will chase, but it's straight to the centre half. And Estrela are going to survive. They've been thoroughly unconvincing tonight. But in truth, have we done enough? Canel switches the ball to Navicki. He's not going to get there. Drame deals with it. We've not done enough. We've not created many chances. And to be fair, Estrela have done their job without being convincing. They've done what we did on Sunday. A 1-0 win on the night is a great result. It will boost our coefficient slightly, but it's not enough to see us through. The European dream is about to be over. There it is. The referee's final whistle goes. A 1-0 win on the night is not enough, but how different it could have been if that offside flag didn't go up. What a terrible game as well, by the way. We say unlucky to the boys. We focus on the league now, because we've got to get back in that title race and try and win the cup. We'll be back in a moment to see when we're next going to return, but at least Brøndby are flying the flag for the nation. Well, nice to see another $250,000 come into the club. I hope some of this European run is going to be reflected in our transfer and wage budget next year, as well as the bigger houses, the gate receipts. Surely they've got to give us something for it. Let's have a look at the schedule though, because it's a pretty big spell coming up. I look at the 4 games before the league season split. We guaranteed our top 6 space today. I don't think there's many massive games in there. We're not playing any of the title contenders. So we're going to come back after the league split, depending on how the fixtures line up. And there will be a focus on the cup too, because that is the one domestic competition that has eluded us here at Viborg. And it's the one I most want to win this year, to be honest. If we do, it may spell the end of the save. We'll decide at the end of the season on that front. But let me know down in the comments what you thought of those performances. 2 really gritty and efficient 1-0 wins, but not enough to overturn the European deficit. If we'd had Palmer fit for the first leg, or match fit even for this leg, it could have been a very different story. If you want to stay up to date with the rest of the season though, and see if that cup eludes us again, then please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. Links to the new save with Brighton and the FM23 save idea videos, they're all up in the eye above. As is the Twitch channel where we've got regular live streams from FM and from F1 Manager 2. And all the ways to support the channel and links to other platforms, as mentioned earlier, down in the description. But thank you very much for watching. The latest top 3 video is above my head now. For those of you that fancy a relegation battle when FM23 is released, give that one a go, because there's some good teams in that list.